We are traversing what many call the most beautiful cruise route on the planet.
Imagine waterfalls crashing into blue waters, cliffs that seem to touch the sky, and valleys so green they look unreal. But we can't show you all just yet. On day 3 of our sailing is when the magic truly begins. Until then, we're diving into life aboard MSC's newest European mega ship,
The MSC Euribia. Hola, it's so nice to see you again. Today we are in Copenhagen, Denmark, about to board the MSC Euribia. So put down your remote, kick back and come along on this adventure.
We like to take public transportation whenever possible, so we rode the metro to the port and took a free bus to the terminal. We arrived 1 hour before our set embarkation time, but it was not an issue. After about 20 minutes, we were checked in and on our way on board. We love the moment we first see our cruise ship up close at the start of our trip. The MSC Euribia is a 331-meter-long Meraviglia Plus class ship. It can house 6,327 guests and 1,711 crew members. We boarded through Deck 4 and immediately felt at home with MSC's classic style. Our first stop was Assembly Station D, 2 decks above. After that, we went up to Deck 8 to find our stateroom. Room 8080 will be our home base for the next week. So, we wanted to sail what many people call the most beautiful cruise route in the world.
We did our homework, and some routes kept coming up again and again in polls, articles, and among the travel community, but one seems to always take the top spot: the Norwegian Fjords.
This cruise has been on my bucket list forever. I even made a vision board video back in 2013 imagining this exact trip, and honestly, I can't believe it's actually happening.
The only catch: we won't get there for another 2 days, but in the meantime we're so excited to be on board our second MSC cruise, their newest ship in Europe.
Sail away is at 1800 hours, and Copenhagen is officially the northernmost port we've ever sailed from. So yes, we packed extra sweaters just in case. So, what's the plan? We'll zigzag through waters with names we can barely pronounce, Kattegat and Skagerrak, before cruising the North Sea toward Norway. Starting here in Denmark, every port on this itinerary is brand new for us, making the adventure even more exciting. Our first stop is Hellesylt on day 3, followed by Ålesund and Flåm on days 4 and 5, before wrapping things up in Kiel on day 7. We're especially excited for Flåm, where we'll ride what many call the world's most beautiful train, because apparently most beautiful cruise wasn't dramatic enough. Of course, we can't forget the ship itself. We had such a great time on the MSC World Europa a few months ago, and from what we've seen so far, the Euribia is shaping up to be just as fantastic. We're so glad you're coming along for the ride. If you've seen our past cruise videos, you already know where we headed first. You guessed it, the buffet. We really like MSC's buffet. It's diverse and tasty. It's always funny how disjointed buffet plates can get. Where else would you get pizza, mashed potatoes, chicken and fish on the same plate? After a very filling lunch, we checked if changing our assigned dinner time from 6:45 would be possible, and we scored a perfect 8:30 slot. Now, let's return to our cabin for a quick room tour.
This is the smallest stateroom we have ever sailed in. This is the bedroom area, We have 2 small beds. I move a lot while sleeping, and hopefully I won't fall off the bed tonight. In this area we have a TV, coffee station, and minibar. I love this ottoman where I can sit and enjoy the view. The closet is tiny. Luckily, we didn't bring much. The bathroom is surprisingly spacious, and I love how modern and bright it is.
It was time to refill our coffee tanks, so we went to the adults-only Sky Lounge perched on deck 18. 2 cafés con leche later, I would have demonstrated my majestic piano prowess, but unfortunately it was not allowed. Your loss. While going down the stairs on our way to deck 6, John was messing around with a silly dance without realizing I was recording it. He edits the videos, so we'll see if it makes the final cut. The sail-away party was underway at the Galleria Euribia on deck 6. This covered promenade has the largest LED dome at sea, which is truly impressive. Usually, looking up and seeing swimming whales while on a ship would be bad news, but today it was mesmerizing.
If you fancy this route or this ship, our friends Shannon and Nina can organize your dream trip. They are our partner US-based travel advisors, eager to help you with this or any other adventure you can imagine. To learn more, scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description. See you there! At 6 p.m. sharp, we watched as the ship departed from Copenhagen. The afternoon was cold and breezy. This was the perfect excuse to get more coffee at the buffet and a couple of slices while we were there. Disclaimer: do not continue to watch this video if you're on a diet. It will greatly test your willpower not to break it. You've been warned. We returned to our room for a quick nap before dinner. We loved our oversized window. We booked a partially obstructed view cabin, but the view was stunning nonetheless. Plus, we requested that our beds be joined for a bigger bed, which was now perfect.
We made our way to the Aurora Borealis dining room on deck 6 for dinner. With our last-minute change, we were expecting to be at a shared table, but were surprised with our own table. They started us off with bread, which we always overeat. Our 2 lemonades were lost in translation, and we got lemon Sprite instead. For starters, we ordered the vitello tonato and the salmon gravlax, followed by our main courses, Mediterranean sea bass with butter sauce, and slow-cooked beef with rosemary sauce. Finally, we both got the kirsch with cherry black forest cake, which we almost left untasted because we were about to forfeit our reserved seats at the theater. Thankfully, we made it there in time. Tonight's production was a rock show. We were expecting a live band performing rock hits, but instead, we got fully fledged choreography and singing numbers. It was the last time this show would be performed on the Euribia. We could tell the performers were leaving everything on the stage, and everyone was digging it. After the show, we grabbed our coats and went outside on deck 15. The night was rainy, which made the ship look beautiful. Being so close to the buffet, we went for coffee. But I would be lying if I said it was just coffee. After this nightcap, we turned in. We slept great. I could have stayed in bed for a bit more, but I guess it was not meant to be. On the bright side, it was time for the breakfast buffet, which I had looked forward to since we booked this cruise. I was especially eager to reunite with these sticky buns MSC serves for breakfast. If I had enjoyed it more, I think I would have been escorted off the ship.
Breakfast was absolutely amazing. Thankfully, we went there earlier than usual because when we left, the line was insane. Today is a sea day and is packed with activities. So let's begin our day. These activities should keep us busy while we wait for the beginning of the fjord route tomorrow morning. We promise it is well worth the wait. First up was an inflatable dart game. Is it me, or do these darts look a lot like tennis balls? Anywho, the goal was to stick them to the board, which was not that easy with spherical darts. Each player had 2 shots, Ari got 1 stuck and I had none. However, no one was keeping score, so officially no one won or lost. After your 2 shots, you had to go to the back of the line to go again, so we chose to try only these ones. While we waited for our next activity, I read my book while Ari tried to solve a couple of murder puzzles from his mortal book. After a while, the trivia game we were waiting for started. The mix of questions was perfect for an international audience of all ages. However, our 7 out of 10 was not enough for us to win the game.
To alleviate the soreness of losing, we tried the cool air on the stern at deck 16. Some would describe the weather as bad, but for us it was perfect. We love cold, rainy and cloudy days like today. However, the sea was getting rougher, and the ship was beginning to rock quite a bit, so we preemptively took pills for nausea. Being covered on the nausea front, we had lunch in the Aurora Boreale restaurant. For starters, we had the same, herb-breaded sea scallops. As my main, I ordered a braised lamb shack and John the penne alla carbonara. We shared a raspberry chocolate tart and a nougatine sundae to end the meal. Having a low-paced lunch away from the hectic buffet crowds was nice. After a quick trip to our room to change into our gym clothes, we went to the theater before our workout session. Here, we saw several attempts by crew member and guests to break Guinness World Records. The records were silly, and we had a nice time. On our way to the gym, we had to face the cold in our thin gym wear. As you can see, John had it worse than I did in this scenario. If we're totally honest, we didn't feel like working out, but we managed to get through it. Since we had a reservation at the theater in just 1 hour, we quickly got ready and were AIS right on time. If you ever watch Everybody Loves Raymond, you know just what that means.
Tonight's show was a 1920s circus filled with singing, dancing, comedy, knife throwing, a strongman, and our favorite, the super talented acrobats. After the show and a quick dinner at the buffet, we were on our way to karaoke when the hot tubs caught our eye. We quickly changed into our swimwear and went in. We had a hot tub all to ourselves. We planned to karaoke and then hit the silent disco, but this off-the-cuff late night dip was the perfect way to end the night.
Finally, we made it to the Norwegian Fjords. Our first stop, Hellesylt, a small village at the head of the Fjord. It sounds cliché, but the village looked like something out of a fairy tale, with its surrounding mountains, cascading waterfall, and rolling fog. Having our morning coffee looking at the meandering fjord is a memory we'll cherish forever. But enough poetry. It was time to get off the ship. The morning was cold and rainy, the theme in all the ports we visited on this cruise. Our game plan for today is to explore the town on our own. This plan would unravel within the hour, but we'll get to that in a minute. We thoroughly enjoyed walking Hellesylt's streets, admiring the autumn colors, the picturesque waterfall, and the quaint houses. This is one of those places that makes you fantasize about leaving the big city life behind. We went into one of the two supermarkets in town looking to buy Norwegian snacks. A bag of chips with a /O in its name and a weirdly flavored soda fit the bill. While snacking and people watching, we realized we had already walked the entire town. So, Plan B went into effect: book an excursion. While we waited for our excursion time, we visited the only coffee shop in town. It was super pretty, had chewy chocolate chip cookies and delicious lattes. Luckily, we ordered the small ones because they were huge. Our excursion for today was a sightseeing bus, and in a classic Murphy's Law way, we chose the side of the bus with the worst sights. However, the stops we made along the way blew our minds. Words don't do it justice, so just have a look for yourself. Back on the ship, we saw a unicorn, an empty hot tub. So we sprang into action, but by the time we returned with our bathing suits, 3 more couples had the same idea. It was too late now to be picky, so we went in. The hot water perfectly contrasted the cold air, and the view was unbeatable. We combined our time in the hot tub with the horizon pool, which was also heated but colder. I don't know why, but this moment reminded me of when I used to play in the rain as a kid. I felt pure joy.
That night, as we departed Hellesylt, we had dinner in our main dining room. For starters, we had fried cod and clam chowder. I had slow-cooked beef for my main, and Ari had the crispy pork chop, which could have been a little less crispy. For dessert, apple pie and strawberry mousse tart. To close the night, we saw the Divas show at the Carousel Lounge in the stern on Deck 7. We stayed for 3 suns before Morpheus wrapped his arms around us. We didn't think it was possible, but we woke up to an even more beautiful landscape. Somehow, even the ship looked prettier. Due to bad weather, today's port of call changed from Ålesund to Olden. It made no difference to us. We were excited to explore whatever corner of Norway we ended up in. Our game plan was the same as yesterday's: explore on our own. We chose one direction and started walking. It was a rainy day. The rain was not intense, but it was persistent. Ari didn't remember that his coach hoodie no longer fit that well, and he left his umbrella on the ship. So I offered to switch coats so we could keep exploring. Mother Teresa, please move aside. Eventually, between the roads no longer having path for pedestrians and the constant rain, we knew it wasn't sustainable to keep aimlessly walking about. The answer? Another excursion.
A bus took us to Jostedalsbreen National Park, which, based on the stunning views, could have been an excursion in and of itself. Once at the park, the most common way to the glacier is to walk a 3-kilometer trail from the valley floor. If you come this way, please dress more appropriately than we did if you don't want to be doing this when you return to the ship. It was cold and raining off and on the entire way, but beautiful all around. The first showstopper is this powerful waterfall of melted glacier. The way up is somewhat strenuous, but when you see the glacial prize in the distance, you know you must keep going. When we reached the end of the road, the view of the glacier was magnificent. We were happy with every Norwegian krone we had paid for this excursion. However, this turned out not to be the end of the road. The majesty of what awaited us just a few more minutes ahead was breathtaking. We got as close as we could be to the Briksdal Glacier, an arm of the Jostedalsbreen Glacier, the largest on mainland Europe. If our trip had ended here, we would have been content. I worried when John tripped and told me he had cut himself, making it sound like a gushing wound. Then I saw it. Back on the ship, I had only one thing on my mind: pizza. MSC's pizza is indeed delicious, but I don't know what came over me today that I just couldn't stop eating. In my cheesy stupor, I had to take a nap. John stayed on deck 16, admiring the landscape while the ship left Olden. Looking at the footage he captured, I regret not being there. We only left our room for a buffet quickie that night because we were tired. I don't even think we showered, which, let's be honest, is a cop-out way of saying we absolutely did not shower. When we woke up, we were already docked in Flåm. We went straight off the ship as we had plans to have breakfast in the local bakery. Even though the area is small, locating the bakery following directions on Google Maps was a bit tricky, but in the end, we found it. Our mouths were watering from the pastries. Along with our latte and Americano coffee order, we got a kanelbolle or cinnamon bun, a solbolle or sun bun, and a buttery brioche. While, as you can see, I enjoyed the kanelbolle, my favorite was the brioche. It was raining outside, and we felt warm and cozy inside the bakery. But remember the train with the world's most beautiful route we mentioned at the beginning of the video? It was time to get on it. But somehow, two anal and meticulous travelers like us didn't think of booking the train ahead of time, and it was now sold out. So we had to think fast before all the good excursions were gone. We traded this massive iron train for this tiny boat. We booked a 2-hour-plus fjord boat safari that leaves in 20 minutes. We were worried about the rain and being too cold, but the amount of protective gear we put on put those worries to rest. Waterproof everything: pants, jacket, coveralls, boots, and gloves. Putting all that on took about 20 minutes, and that's without considering having to do it again because you missed a step. Once we had all the gear on, I sent this picture to our 9-year-old niece and she replied, "You look like Minions," which is quite accurate. Off we went deep into the fjords. Being on such a tiny boat, everything felt monumental. We saw endless waterfalls, including this big one that our captain took us really close to. This excursion has it all. Increasingly beautiful landscapes at every turn, towering mountains, learning about life in these remote villages, one with just a single permanent resident. Speed, rain, fog, and even the sun made an appearance. By the way, this is our captain. We got nervous when we saw the guy who was supposed to be driving the boat nonchalantly chatting in the passenger area. But hey, a guy with a Viking braided beard has it covered. Back on land and filled with testosterone from the adventure, we went to the local pub for beer. It was very touristy, but they did a great job with the decoration. We sat in the sunken circle in the middle of the pub, which had a roaring fire at its center. We ordered a tasting board with 5 different kinds of beer: And taste, we did.
Back on the ship, we noticed it was always rush hour, no matter when we went to the buffet. By this point in the cruise, we began to notice more and more people coughing and sneezing. We ate fast to avoid being in a crowded spot for too long and getting sick on a cruise again. Spoiler alert, we did. That's 4 out of 5 cruises where we catch something. Although we've been lucky not to feel sick until the last day or when we return home.
Thankfully, the buffet wasn't so crazy today. Lunch was okay. We're bummed about missing the train ride, but man, we're not regretful at all about that boat tour. It was mesmerizing, amazing, adventurous.
I don't know if this is the most beautiful route in the world because we haven't done all of them, but we can tell you this is
We'll have
amazing.
to do them now. Poor us,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we have to. But this one has been incredible.
We still have a lot more to do, but for right now, dessert, coffee, hot
Yes.
cocoa, and maybe a little nap.
Yeah, we might need a nap.
Let's go.
We had arroz con leche, coffee, and hot cocoa right next door in the carousel lounge before heading upstairs to watch the ship's departure. This time we brought our brand new binoculars to better appreciate the fjord's details. Now we know not to skimp on binoculars. They were absolute garbage, and we ended up using the phone camera's zoom instead.
Next, we played a football match where I almost pulled off a fantastic comeback but lost in the end. Thankfully, John is a gracious winner. Later that night, we went to the main dining room for dinner. Cuttlefish salad and green asparagus roast beef for starters. For mains, we both ordered the beef bourguignon. And for dessert, a lemon delight and the royal cake. After dinner, we went to the theater to watch a show based on Ed Sheeran's songs. Once more, the production was terrific and we had a blast. It was the perfect appetizer for the white party. The promenade was packed. The DJ played the catchiest song in each country, from massive hits like Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus to an Indian song that I somehow heard before and even knew the choreography for. The party was cheesy, silly, and a lot of fun. The ship was really rocking tonight, and everybody looked like drunk dancers trying to keep their balance. In fact, on the way back to our room, with a quick pit stop at the buffet, it was hard to walk. The pools were crazy, plates were falling down, and it was really windy. We got really close to succumbing to full-on seasickness tonight. Luckily, we were spared thanks to these good old friends. On our last day on board, we woke up late, so we had to rush to make it in time for breakfast in the main dining room. Pastries, coffee, eggs Benedict, and French toast with scrambled eggs are all served promptly away from the hectic buffet crowd. I did miss the sticky buns though. The day was stormy, perfect weather for board games. We went to Deck 18 and grabbed Trivial Pursuit with the Harry Potter expansion pack in Italian. That should be interesting. On our way to play, we saw a trivia game about to begin, so we signed up. It turned out to be about guessing cartoon songs, so we were pretty much toast from the get-go. But we fared better than we thought with a 5 out of 10 and couldn't believe we actually won the game. That was the last thing on our minds, and it was super awkward to accept the winning prize when about half the players were children. But hey, they had the home field advantage. Now, back to our sophisticated grown-up game, Harry Potter Trivia. We chose the Carousel Lounge as our base. Now, we can speak a little Italian, but it turns out that reading complex questions in Italian is quite challenging. We are also big Potterheads, But when Professore Piton turns out to be Snape in the Italian books, we might as well be Potter newbies. It was a long but hilarious game, but in the end, John won. I have to be honest, I'm getting tired of always losing to him on cruise games.
We're about to hit the gym, but first, yesterday we forgot to add our MSC Euribia coin to our collection, so Ari, do the honors. The next coin added to our collection is going to be the Celestial Discovery, a non-Greek cruise line across the Greek islands, and that sounds amazing.
But before that video, we're going to be riding on the Polar Express and also staying in an igloo in the Arctic Circle. Super excited about that one.
So,
let's go to the gym. With our gym session swiftly out of the way, we return to our cabin to get ready for dinner. Tonight, we'll splurge on a specialty restaurant. But before dinner, it was showtime in the theater. When the Euribia docks tomorrow, all the performers' contracts expire. So this would be this cast's last show on board. It was a smorgasbord of basically every performer on board. Dancing, singing, magic, acrobatics, ballet, and a lot of energy. The show was electrifying from start to finish and ended in a standing ovation. We chose Hola, the specialty Mexican restaurant on deck 6 for our last dinner. We could choose an all-you-can-eat menu for €22.99 per person or order a la carte. We chose the latter as we didn't think we'd eat that much. We started with guac and chips. When we saw the size of the guac, alarms went off in our heads. Maybe not choosing all you can eat was a mistake. Next up, tacos. Their size had us extremely worried that we would end up hungry or spending way more than the all you can eat option. Our choices of tacos were chipotle carnitas, carne asada, al pastor, and chili pescado. They were small but surprisingly filling, and most importantly, delicious. You know you're having a great time when food makes you dance without music. The total cost of this cruise was $2,311, including the non-alcoholic drinks package, tips, and the specialty restaurant.
That's it for this trip, but don't worry, you can hop on another cruise with us right now, this time the biggest cruise ship in Europe, until the next sail away.